Good evening. A man has been charged with manslaughter following the death of a Belfast man who was injured during a night out in the city. 22-year-old Conan Anderson suffered a head injury in an incident at Arthur Lane in the early hours of the 6th of February. He was admitted to hospital and died nearly 2 weeks later. The 27-year-old man who's been charged will appear in court tomorrow. Baroness O'Loan has told the House of Lords that the Assembly election will inevitably result in direct rule. During a debate on the government's bill to trigger Brexit, she also said leaving the EU would recreate the border between North and South, causing unrest and ultimately precipitating a border referendum.
There's still a lot of guns in circulation. We're still having shootings and bombings and things like that. So I don't think we can be complacent. And I don't think we can suggest there's nothing to worry about. Brexit will recreate the border, north and south. Borders are, by their very nature, my lords, divisive. This border will attract protest, hostility, violence, and significant economic delay. Other borders across Europe will also create those delays for those who seek to import from the United Kingdom into Europe. But ironically, this could be the thing, this border could be the thing that precipitates the demand for another referendum on a united Ireland.
9 people are being questioned by the police about arson attacks on the homes and cars of police officers. The Police Federation, which represents officers, has said the attacks were a clear attempt to bully, intimidate and terrorise. Catherine Morrison reports from Musgrave Street Police Station in Belfast, where the 9 people are being held.
This operation began with a series of early morning raids in Larne, Lisburn, Armagh, Banbridge and Craigavon. 6 men and 3 women were arrested and brought to Musgrave Police Station in Belfast for questioning on a number of offences, including arson, arson with intent to endanger life and conspiracy to cause an explosion. Now, the police have said that this is in connection with a series of arson attacks on serving police officers. We don't have too many details about this, but what we do know is there were a number of arson attacks on the vehicles and homes of police officers in the Banbridge, Guildford and Portadown areas between April and July of last year. Now, the police have also said that at the same time as those arrests were made, a number of items were taken away during searches of properties. The police aren't doing any interviews on this, but in a statement, Detective Inspector Keith Gawley described these as serious, life-endangering attacks and appealed for anyone with information on them to contact detectives. He also said detectives are investigating a possible drugs link to this case, and these 9 people who are being questioned here are also being questioned on possessing Class A, B and C drugs and intent to supply them.
Catherine Morrison. A teenager accused of the manslaughter of a County Fermanagh boy has pleaded not guilty. 13-year-old Oisin McGrath from Belcoo died following a playground incident 2 years ago. Here's our South West reporter Julian Fowler.
19-year-old Francis McDermott from Camphill Park in Newton Butler is accused of unlawfully killing Oisin McGrath in February 2015. When that charge was put to him at Dungannon Crown Court today, he replied not guilty. The McGrath family were also in the court. They heard a defence solicitor say the case would be conducted in a way that would minimise their pain as far as possible. Oisin McGrath was taken to hospital following an incident in the playground at St Michael's College in Enniskillen. His life support machine was switched off 4 days later. At the time of the incident, Francis McDermott was in the 6th form. A defence lawyer said an unusual set of circumstances led to the collapse and death of Oisin McGrath. He said further expert analysis of the medical evidence in the case was required. The court was told that a trial would be expected to last 3 weeks. A date will be set at a future hearing. Francis McDermott, who's now a university student, was released on bail. Julian Fowler, BBC Newsline, Dungannon Crown Court.
5 pipe bombs and ammunition have been found in West Belfast. The haul was removed by the army from a house in Conway Street. The police say their search of the property was part of an investigation into organised criminality linked to the INLA. The police are treating as a hate crime a petrol bomb attack on a car belonging to a Sinn Féin election agent. The vehicle was set on fire at Towerview Crescent in Bangor last night. The car, which was parked in the driveway of the family home, was extensively damaged. 2 masked men were seen in the area at the time. Sinn Féin have described the incident as an attack on the democratic process. The DUP in the area has asked anyone with information about the attack to contact the police. The Alliance Party leader Naomi Long has admitted that she called 2 councillors who recently left the party balloons. Speaking after her party's election manifesto launch, Mrs Long also talked about a newspaper story which reported that Alliance had encouraged members to ring a BBC election phone-in with what were described as softball questions. She said it was a storm in a teacup. Here is our political correspondent, Stephen Walker.
Not the headlines you want on the day of a manifesto launch. The Belfast Telegraph said the Alliance Party had encouraged members to ring in to BBC Radio Ulster's Talkback programme with easy questions for Naomi Long and suggested they use a fake name if they wanted to. Naomi Long said the story was a storm in a teacup and the postings were a joke. A BBC spokesperson said in line with BBC guidelines, production teams do their best to assess each caller to ensure they contribute to a fair and balanced discussion. Separately, Naomi Long did admit that on social media she described 2 women as balloons, women who had recently resigned from the Alliance Party.
I'll be honest, I think most people would be surprised that all I said was balloons.
So you did say it?
I did.
Away from the personalities, it was the policies in their 85-page manifesto that Naomi Long wanted to concentrate on. She says this election is about choosing people fit to govern.
We have been brought here by a scandal in terms of RHI and in terms of how it was handled. But crucially, we were brought here by a breakdown in respect for partners in government.
The Alliance Party say they have big plans for change, including ending what they see is the abuse of petitions of concern at Stormont. They want to introduce a single equality bill and would like to see special status for Northern Ireland after Brexit. They say integrated education should be expanded, and they say they will oppose any repeal of the Human Rights Act. The party had 8 MLAs in the last assembly. So what are they aiming for this time?
From our perspective, we would hope to hold it. That would be our target, and we also see opportunities for growth in other places. I'm also looking at our vote wider beyond that, because this is one election. It's not the only election. And so we're looking forward to local council and future elections as well, and trying to grow the party outside our firm base that we have established.
At the last Stormont election, the Alliance vote went down, as their new leader, Naomi Long, says any increase will be regarded as a good result. Stephen Walker, BBC Newsline, Belfast.
And after this news, the second of a 2-part Spotlight programme will look at the Assembly's future. The weather is next with Barra Best.
Hello there, it is wet out there for many of us, and patchy rain will continue to come and go for the next few hours, but most of that rain should have cleared by breakfast time tomorrow. Not too chilly tonight either, with temperatures sticking at about 5 or 6 degrees. So tomorrow, not a bad day in terms of dry weather and sunshine. There will be a fair amount of both. Westerly winds, though, will continue to drive in 1 or 2 scattered showers, but those mainly affecting parts of the north coast. And if you're travelling tomorrow, the best chance of seeing any sunshine will be for northern areas of Ireland and for Britain. Although that said, across Scotland, quite windy with a scattering of showers, some wintry over the high ground as well. For central areas of Ireland and Britain and further south here, a lot of cloud sticks around with some patchy rain, but it will also be milder with temperatures reaching the double figures. It's this rain that will be sitting over central Ireland by tomorrow afternoon that is going to nudge its way northwards again into tomorrow evening. Probably reaching Fermanagh by about tea time, and then slowly but surely that rain is gradually going to move north across all places, giving us a very wet end to the day. In fact, the Met Office has issued a weather warning for that rain, quite a bit of it in a short amount of time, so as a result we could see some surface flooding on the roads, perhaps some treacherous driving conditions as well. And as temperatures fall back tomorrow night, there is a likelihood that we will see some wintry weather, especially over the high ground. It's all courtesy of Storm Doris, which will be moving in from the Atlantic tomorrow evening. It is going to bring windy conditions as well on Thursday, feeling bitterly cold, but temperatures on the rise again by the weekend.
And that's it. Good night. Sleep well.